Silly churl, Billy churl.
Asti is here to suffer some more. Now, as you may or may not know, I actually main Hutao. Yes, insert imagine maining Hutao in 2023 for the map comment. And just like anyone that decides to play when Arlecchino already exists, I have the brightest ideas in the world. So you know what that means. Another horrible idea! But jokes aside, today I'll be solving every single weekly boss in Genshin with Hutao, which means that my team will consist of, that's right, just her. The rules are simple. Hutao must be the only party member, no using food to heal, and last but optional rule is to no-hit all the bosses. Now, why would I want to no-hit all the bosses? I don't. It's just Hutao really likes being a low health, and if I want to do more than tickle the bosses, I'll be pretty much forced to stay in the one-hit territory. So you might be wondering,
why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
kind of question, why not? This is gonna be a tough challenge, so I'll also include a death counter in the bottom left. Let's get started. You know, the wolf and the violin shouldn't be that hard, but at the same time, I haven't fought them for like a year, so I don't know how well it's gonna go. Plus, my Hutao isn't really that good when it comes to solo stuff, so we'll see. Alright, and it's world level 9, because, of course. So, I thought that Endurance would be an easy boss. It's the first one I have to fight, sounds easy enough, right? Yeah, well, the fight proved to be harder, buggier. I'm getting pissed off. And way more annoying than expected. From janky hitboxes to my charge attacks not registering when they should have hit. You name it. As for the fight, there's not really much to say about it. Wait until he does an attack, sneak a few hits in, does the claw attack, attack some more, back away, then repeat. Overall, just avoid getting affected by cryo, cause if you do, you can deal damage, no move probably. The total death count was 7, with 1 reset totaling at 9 total attempts. All in all, I thought it was a pretty easy and doable boss to solo, and was actually a fair fight. I can't say the same for some of the bosses that will come later, though. Whoa. So there's not really much to say about the volume. He just kinda fell over. He was the easiest boss to beat, totaling at just 1 attempt. Though he's also the first wicked boss you fight and unlock, and he's also in the first region you play in, so that makes sense. The easiest fight in this game. Okay, wait. I know this is a sound on pause, but holy shit, this child is squishy. His attack patterns aren't much to talk about either. Just dodge 2 and 3 times, then spam charge attacks. I only died once, but that was because I got impatient and didn't wait for him to start a new attack, and I got hit multiple times because of this. So, Child was pretty anticlimactic. I didn't expect him to fall over as bad as Devourin, but here we are. You know, I'm starting to think that this pseudo no-hit challenge is actually doable, believe it or not. We'll skip over Dawnley's Pet Lizard though, since the week I recorded this in had Azhar be pyro-immune, so we'll go straight to Signora. You know how death and taxes are the only 2 certainties in life? Well, let's just say that our poor Hutao's turn to plan her own funeral came early. Too many times. The first phase boils down to killing Signora as fast as possible to avoid getting hit by any of her attacks, and if done properly, we can get out of this with a little bit over than half her speed. Most of the time, that is. The problem is when she cocoons herself, she fires out these homing cryo shards that, as far as I know, cannot be dodged in their entirety. Trust me, I tried. I tried seeing if there's any way to manipulate this attack into not happening, but I'm pretty sure it's just RNG whether it happens or not. In fact, I could even say that 25% of my runs ended here either because I died or got dealt too much damage so I couldn't survive the second phase. And speaking of RNG in the second phase, if you thought that was bad, you haven't seen anything yet. If I could describe this entire experience, it would be either RNG hell or horrible game design coming from Hoyo. I'm pretty sure this boss is 99% impossible to no-hit by virtue of its dependency on RNG and how it can fuck you over. The meteor attack likes targeting the corners of the arena, so you have to pretty much burn alive, and if the meteor attack goes well, the tornado one makes sure you're either stuck in one part of the arena, and if you want to leave, then you have to trade away 25% of the health you have, or just locks you from those cryo crystals, so you'll burn alive by the heat bar getting full, or by stepping on the melted floor by those aforementioned attacks. I did try a couple of times to ignore the rules and use full to heal, and I did get further, but not by much. I'm in the most fuckable time of my life, and the only thing fucking me is the RNG. She's the only boss I skipped out of my own volition along with Raiden. I don't remember what exactly the problem was with Raiden though. There was this one attack I couldn't figure out that killed 50% of my runs. I don't know though, I'm writing this script 2 weeks after I recorded this entire thing. I was gonna go on a tangent on why I think Signora is not a fair boss and how the devs basically increase the difficulty artificially by adding RNG tracks. But I don't want to make this video longer than it needs to be. Then the next boss is Scaramouche, so let's continue on. You know, before I started this challenge, Scaramouche was one of the bosses I was most afraid of. And turns out I was afraid of nothing. Yes, I did die 4 times, but that was only because it's been a year since I left Volume, when I didn't count Frozen back when I made her. The first phase wasn't that much of a problem, and the second one was just as boring as it usually is. While Raiden has multiple one-shot mechanics, or at least it seemed like she did, Scaramouche only has one very obvious such mechanic. There's just one problem though. To avoid getting hit, you need to destroy these things first, and well, Hutao got height nerfed when she was born, making this boss impossible. Still, everything else was possible with just her, so I'll make this an exception. The next boss, however, wasn't so friendly. There are 2 types of people in this world. Those who fight a Pep normally, and those who solo it with Tao. Okay, so what, a Pep is an easy boss, someone soloed it with just the Traveler, plus it's a pretty squishy boss, what can go wrong? You might ask yourselves. And you know, I thought the exact same thing. That was until I actually had to try it. During my experience, I had to endure attacks whose damage is registered only after 2 seconds, and no, it was my ping. You can see that it was pretty much perfect. Undodgeable attacks, this fucking thing, RNG dependent attack in the 3rd phase that kills 70% of my runs. We'll get back to that one. I've never been more annoyed with a game before. If you wanna do a solo like me, pick a healer, shielder, or anyone else that can comfortably dodge all the attacks, like Geo Traveler. And yes, eventually I did start using food buffs, but those were in our role set, so it's fine. Okay, so let's actually start talking about the actual battle. The first phase is very consistent, except for my winning run. It's just a mix of scratches and summons, and you can get a Pep down to about 25% HP in just 2 attack patterns. That is, if you get them, unlike me, cause the first attack got skipped for me, plus some hitbox issues. I wonder where else I experienced that. Up until now, I'm expecting 3000 Apollo gems in my mail, Hoyo. Anyway, the third and hopefully last attack you have to go through is one where the wet dog goes to the center of the arena and throws out its balls. This, as far as I've seen, is completely undodgeable. You will get hit no matter what, because half those balls home in on you with extreme precision if they're next to you. It's BS, but if you have over 7 or 8000 HP, you should be able to survive this attack relatively well. All you really need to watch out for in the second phase is this dried sheep shell looking fox that killed about 50% of my runs. If one spawns, focus on that thing. It's the only real danger against you in this phase. The third phase is similar to the first one. Dodge attacks a second or 2 before the animation actually starts, and after 2 attacks comes the single most annoying attack in this entire fight. The boss summons 3 shields and you need to stand inside one of them to not die. Sounds easy enough, right? Well, what if I told you that this single attack killed over 70% of my runs? It's true. It's the only attack in this fight that is 100% RNG dependent. I actually began thinking about scratching the boss off the list, say it's technically possible, and then move on. But then, while chatting on the Discord server about it, which you should probably join too, a hope has descended on this challenge, and that hope is called Iris. The main problem I faced was the one hit mechanic in the third phase. The one and only RNG mechanic here is the shield spawns. Once they start ping, you have about 1 second to get inside one. If not, you'll die. But not from the one hit nuke, but from the damage over time, since there's no other way to get there other than being below 5 HP. So then, what's the solution to our problem? Well, just stand where the safe zones spawn. And the spawning pattern is apparently very predictable. You have the messages on screen. But did everything work out in the end? Yes, it actually did, and it was a close win. A little bit too close. I'm not counting that as a death, and yes, I did use food buffs, but those aren't disallowed, so I'm counting this as a win. In total, I died about 21 times, and it took a little bit over 2 hours, a little bit of my sanity, and about 5 years out of my life. On to the next boss. The narwhal is really easy. You smack it a lot, smack it some more, then smack it when it's on the ground. But just like anything else in this challenge, of course it wasn't that easy. The main problem this time is its edgy phase. Now I do admit that I technically disrespected the rules yet again, but my excuse this time is that this was recorded right after the pep fight, and there was edgy phase were a little bit too much for me. Specifically when this guy cocoons himself and you have to use either Pneuma or Ouija to be done with the phase quicker. Well, say hello to this artifactless, weaponless level 20 Lynette. Yeah, I know this isn't technically a solo, but all of the damage dealt was with Taro, and this Lynette can't even do anything to begin with. I just had her to be done with the phase quicker and to not have to deal with the, at the time, annoying attack that happens if you don't use the Fontaine mechanics. Other than that, the whale wasn't that big of a deal. During the fight, I died a total of 4 times, and despite it being the second to last boss, at the time of recording, it was surprisingly easy. And speaking of the last boss, I think it's about time we finish this challenge. The Arlecchino boss fight was probably the best out of all the previous fights, probably because it actually felt like a boss fight and was the fairest and best made fight in the entire game. It is difficult and extremely punishing, but fair at the same time, since every single attack can and is completely dodgeable, and a no hit is extremely doable if you're familiar enough with the attacks. No hitbox BS, no bugs, no bullshit RNG, no early dashes because of delayed animations, just straight up skill. Good job, Hoyo, you finally made a good boss, and all it took you was 4 years to do it. The not so nice part about Arlecchino is that she's an absolute tank, both figuratively and literally. Having nearly 2 million HP in her first phase and 1 million in her second, this totals to nearly 3 million HP I gotta get rid of. This is while ignoring her pyro resistance, which sits at 70%. So basically, damaging her with pyro attacks is not the game. So then, how do we actually kill her? Stick. We smack with stick. I never thought I'd ever play a physical Taro, but here we are. It's the only option I have, cause getting the pyro infusion costs HP, and Arlecchino has this thing called bleeding which kills you slowly. So then, how did it go? Uh, 2000 HP, 2400 HP left, holy shit. So yeah, it is indeed possible to solo Arlecchino with just Tao, but don't celebrate yet, that was just level 60, and I was done with just a sliver of my health remaining, because of the aforementioned bleeding mechanic. As far as I've noticed from my test runs, you can get rid of it by either healing or charge attacking at specific times. However, that attempt was as flawless as you can get, and I still barely got out of it alive. If she would have had more HP, then the fight would have been impossible. This took 6 attempts and about 40 minutes, and the total number of resets this challenge took, while counting deaths and retries, is nothing more than 69. Honestly, not too terrible considering what I was expecting, and it's a great number to end it on. But yeah, that was Futao versus every single boss in Genshin. If you liked this video, give it a like and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you all next time.